Hello everyone, and welcome to our next installment of the Traveling Yogini's mat yoga practices. This particular series is going to focus on poses that are meant to ease any discomfort in the neck and in the shoulders. And my hope is that by using these movements, we're going to make things feel better in those areas. But my hope is also to give you some interesting shoulder-friendly options as well when it comes to a sun salutation. So the sun salutation we use today will be a little different than the one I usually use, but I'm hoping that for those who are having shoulder discomfort, you'll be able to learn this sun salutation and put it into any practice wherever you go, whomever the instructor may be. So let's go ahead and get started. And remember, if you have a different sun salutation that you would rather use in this practice today, always feel free to do so. Make changes as you like, use the options given as you'd like to create the practice that works best for you. So let's start off by planting both feet flat onto the ground. And let's begin by unwinding here through the shoulders, gently rolling them back and down. Now, if this is not comfortable for your shoulders, another nice option here is to inhale and lift the shoulders up toward the ears, and on the exhale, relax them back and down. We're just trying to start to gently move the shoulders, trying to lubricate the shoulder joints a little bit before we start our practice. And let's begin to breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, as long as those passageways are clear. And if they're not clear for us today, let's just breathe as comfortably as we can. Couple more times, moving through the shoulders gently. And when we're ready, let's relax the shoulders down away from the ears. Feeling each foot firmly connected to the earth beneath us, drawing good energy up from the earth and allowing it to fill all parts of the physical body. Let's engage our abdominal muscles to support the back. Let's keep that chest nice and open, and let's lift up tall through the crown of our head. You're welcome to close your eyes here as we use our deep breathing. I always find it's helpful to close the eyes so I can block out any distractions. And as we hear the sound of our healthy breathing, we find our focus there, allowing ourselves to let go of judgment, let go of competition, at the same time that we let go of our stray thoughts. And we remind ourselves to breathe throughout each pose today, especially when a pose is challenging for us. Let's keep breathing rather than holding our breath. Let's take a few more cleansing, centering breaths. And when we're ready, let's slowly open our eyes. Now let's start off with some gentle neck movements. Let's inhale tall through the crown of our head, standing up tall. And on the exhale, gently, gently turn the head to look over one shoulder. Inhaling as we turn back to the center. Exhaling, turning, turning to look over the other shoulder. Inhaling and coming back to the center. Now on the exhale, very gently, let's tilt the head to one side. And on the inhale, lift, lift, lift. On the exhale, a tilt gently to the other side. Inhaling and lifting up. Now let's take a gentle chin drop down toward the inside of one elbow. And on the inhale, let's lift. And on the exhale, a gentle chin drop over to the other side. Inhaling, lifting back to the center, rolling the shoulders back. Let's bring both hands together at heart center. On the inhale, let's lift one long arm up toward the ceiling, palm forward as the other arm reaches down, and then switch sides. Inhaling and exhaling. Again, just trying to gently move through the shoulders, lubricating the joint there. If it's not comfortable to move the arms this way, you can always reach up alongside the body and then lower down, reaching up high and lower down. Just a few more times, reaching those long arms up, any option that you like best. Now let's bring the arms back to heart center, palms touching. On the inhale, let's open up the chest like cactus arms. And on the exhale, come back to the center. This is another option for chest expansion flow. Exhale back to the center. And again, for those of you working through any shoulder discomfort, just move gently through these movements. And if it's too much, just ease back altogether. But I'm hoping these gentle movements will help bring a little ease into those areas, ease of movement. A few more times. One more time, opening up through the chest. Now let's relax the arms down and roll the shoulders back. Resting both arms alongside the body here. Let's inhale, engaging the abdominals, and on the exhale, a tea kettle reach to one side. Inhale, lift, lift, lift with these trunk muscles. Exhale over to the other side. Inhaling and lifting, exhaling as we lower. Feeling that nice side body stretch. One more time on each side. Coming all the way back to the center, rolling the shoulders back, standing tall. Let's inhale the left arm to shoulder height, watching the tips of our fingers as we gently twist. Inhaling back to the center and exhaling down. Let's inhale the other arm up, gently, gently twisting. Inhaling back to the center, and we exhale down. A lateral raise with a gentle twist. One more time on each side. Now let's relax those arms down and roll the shoulders back. Now let's take a wide stance here on the mat, bending through the knees. We want to make sure when we look down over those bent knees, we can still see our toes down there, and the knees and the toes are pointing in the same direction. Let's inhale both arms overhead, stretching into moonflowers, or excuse me, into a star. Now we're gonna squat down, bring those elbows into the ribs for moonflowers. Inhaling as we reach out, exhaling into our moonflowers. We're going to start to build some good heat in the body with these flowing movements. Remember, if you're ever getting too hot and uncomfortable, you can always exhale out through the mouth. That'll help cool things off and regulate your temperature. Couple more times using moonflowers. Exhaling down. Now let's hinge forward with a bend in the knees and gather. And on the inhale, we're just going to lift up to shoulder height with the arms. Exhaling as we hinge. Inhale, rise up. Again, just keeping those shoulders or the arms at shoulder height so that we're not getting uncomfortable through the shoulders there. Still reaching those arms out to their longest length when we rise up. Still bending the knees as we hinge forward. Protecting the back at all times. Two more of these hinging sunflowers. Last time. Now let's bend the left forearm and lean in to side angle pose. Then inhale, come back to the center. This time, bending through the right arm, resting it on the thigh, come on back. So take that palm up when you reach overhead and come back to shoulder height. Now, if it's not comfortable to reach the arm overhead this way, you can reach alongside the body on the diagonal. Let's see if that feels better. Exhale as we bend. Inhale back to the center. So think about how you like these poses and what's working for your shoulders today. Couple more times on each side. Side angle flow. Last time for each side. Now let's relax the arms, roll the shoulders back, and step all the way up to the top of the mat. Let's inhale the arms to shoulder height. Put a little bend in the knees and let's swan dive to a forward fold. On the inhale, let's lift into monkey, just resting the hands on the legs. And on the exhale, back to forward fold. Little bend in the knees as we rise up, bringing arms to shoulder height. Exhale, swan diving down. Inhaling as we lift to monkey. Exhaling, forward fold. Inhaling, rising tall. Exhaling and inhaling. Now this time when we rise up on the inhale, let's add a chair pose. Sitting back into chair, arms in front of us. Inhaling, arms up. Exhale, swan diving down. Inhaling to monkey. Exhaling, forward fold. Inhaling, rising tall. And on the exhale, we sit back into chair pose. Sitting back into chair. One more time through this pattern. Sitting back into chair one more time. Now let's swan dive down. Finding forward fold, taking a moment here to straighten out the legs as much as is comfortable for us today. Now I want to point out, if anyone's working through vertigo, glaucoma, or uncontrolled high blood pressure, I do want you to keep your your chest parallel to the ground if you're working through any of those. We would not want to put our head below the heart for those folks. Now when we're ready, let's gently take down one knee and then the other. And let's press those hips back toward the heels, coming into our balasana, child's pose. Two more breaths. Now when you're ready, let's all shift forward into an all fours posture. Shoulders over the wrists, hips over the knees. Remember, you can always use a fist here if that feels more comfortable for you. So let's inhale, arching the back for cow. And on the exhale, we curl up like a Halloween cat. Inhaling, coming back to cow pose. Exhaling and curling up. I see Maisie the yoga cat is joining us during her favorite pose, of course. Let's curl up like Maisie cat one more time. And let's come back into our all fours position. Now looking down at the ground, let's engage the abdominals. As we inhale, let's reach the right arm forward as the left leg stretches out long behind us. And then exhale down to all fours. Let's inhale, this time reaching the left arm forward, right leg behind, and then exhale back to the mat. Inhaling and exhaling. This is spinal balance flow. Now again, if reaching those arms out is not comfortable for you, you could just extend through the back legs on the inhale and come back down to the mat. So there's always options. Don't be afraid to try something different, especially when you're guarding your own body. If I'm in a group yoga class and I know that I'm looking after my shoulders or my neck or the lower back, I always try to use options that'll make the experience better for me, and I can still do the yoga class and get that wonderful, well-oiled machine feeling afterwards. One more time on each side. Spinal balance flow. Now, let's come back to all fours. Let's reach the hips back toward the heels. Arms are out long in front of us. Now from child's pose, we might choose to walk the hands over to one side on the diagonal. Feeling a nice stretch through the side body here. Now let's walk the hands back to the center and over to the other side. And then we'll walk ourselves back to the center. On the next inhale, let's come forward to a strong kneeling plank. And on the exhale, keep the elbows close to the body and lower down to the mat. On the inhale, let's lift the chest away from the mat like a snake in the grass for cobra. And on the exhale, let's come all the way back into child's pose. Again, let's inhale forward, kneeling plank, strong abdominals. Exhaling, lowering the body down. Inhale, lift to cobra. And on the exhale, coming all the way back. Inhaling forward. Exhale, lower with control. Keep the elbows close as you inhale, lifting through the back. And on the exhale, come all the way back. A few more times through. Last time, inhaling forward, exhale, lower down, inhale, lift to cobra, and on the exhale, come all the way back into child's pose. Now, sometimes when I'm doing my upper body practice, I guess I just keep drifting back further and further on my mat. So I'm going to scooch up a little bit here, just to get back towards the center of the mat. We're going to use our dolphin pose today. So what we're going to do is come forward into all fours. Again, restack the body, shoulders over wrist, hips over knees. Now let's lower each forearm one at a time. The elbows are staying shoulders width apart. Let's lace our fingers, tuck in the bottom pinky so you have a flat base. And let's curl our toes to the ground, pressing those heels back and down for dolphin. Dolphin pose is a lot like downward dog through the lower body, but it has a nice forearm support rather than just the wrists. So it can be more shoulder friendly, and that's why we're using dolphin here instead of downward dog. Let's engage the abdominals. Let's take 3 more breaths. Of course, take breaks if you need to. Strengthening the shoulders. Now gently lower the knees to the ground, unlace the fingers, and press those hips back toward the heels. Coming into child's pose once again. Now here we're going to get ready to start with our sun salutations. They're meant to warm up the body with flowing movements. You can use my shoulder-friendly version here or any sun salutation that you like. So if you're following me on the next inhale, let's come forward to a strong kneeling plank with strong abdominals. On the exhale, lower all the way down to the ground. On the inhale, let's lift the chest for cobra away from the mat. And on the exhale, we press back into child's pose. Inhaling forward to all fours. Let's step one foot forward and then the other and rise up Inhaling, arms to shoulder height. Exhale, swan dive to a forward fold. Gently take down the knees and come back into child's pose. Inhaling forward to a kneeling plank. Lower down with control. Inhale, lifting to cobra. Exhale, come all the way back to child's pose. On the inhale, shift forward to all fours. Step up one foot and the other. Continue to inhale up. Now let's exhale to a chair pose. Inhaling, arms up to shoulder height. Swan diving as we exhale. Stepping back, one knee at a time. Child's pose. Inhaling forward to a kneeling plank. Lowering the body with control. Lifting to cobra on the inhale. Exhaling, shifting back to child's pose. We inhale forward to all fours and we step up one foot and the other. Continue to inhale up, exhaling to chair. Continuing with this pattern, swan dive as you exhale. Take down one knee and then the other, child's pose. Inhaling to kneeling plank, lower with control. Inhaling to cobra. Exhaling back. Inhale, let's come forward to our all fours. Rise tall and exhale to chair. So on the inhale, we just sort of step ourselves up, rise to shoulder height. Exhale, chair pose. Inhale, rise up. Exhaling as we swan dive. Coming back down to child's pose. Inhale forward to kneeling plank. Exhale down through chaturanga. That's crocodile. Lift to cobra. Coming all the way back to child's pose as we exhale. Inhaling, stepping up, rising, exhaling to chair. One last time through. Sitting back into chair as we exhale, lifting those arms overhead and lower those arms all the way back down. Now grab a drink if you brought one for yourself today. Oh. So a little different version of our sun salutation, but still feeling warmed up in the body. I'm hoping that's the case for you as well. Still knowing that we're sending good fluids throughout all parts of the body and especially around those joints, lubricating them. So let's go ahead and roll the shoulders back and down here. Now let's relax the shoulders away from the ears. 2 feet firmly planted on the ground beneath us. Let's use a little bit more neck TLC here. Let's inhale tall through the crown. On the exhale, let's turn the head to look over one shoulder. And on the next inhale, let's lift the chin on a slight diagonal as a bird looks out of its nest. Now this time on the exhale, let's gently draw a semicircle down by the chest, and on the inhale, lifting to the other bird's nest on the other side. Exhaling, gently, gently lowering down. Inhale, lifting. Exhaling, lower down with care. Now, if you're working through some neck discomfort, your range of motion may be smaller than this, and that's okay. Listening to the body at all times, we're going to ease back whenever we need to, and then offer ourselves more of a challenge whenever we want to. One more time on each side. Last time through. Now let's bring that chin to shoulder height, turn the head back to the center, and roll the shoulders back and down. Now I'm going to turn around. This next part has some behind the back action. So we're going to take our right arm and just reach it right behind the back. And if you want, you can hold on to the other arm. It's up to you. Standing up nice and tall. Here we're getting a nice stretch through the shoulder, the right shoulder, but if that's not feeling comfortable for you to hold on to the other arm, you can let go and that'll make it a little less demanding. You could also stretch that arm out a little more, like half of a butterfly's wing, and that can make things more comfortable as well. So we're trying to stretch out the shoulders here in a good, positive way. Now let's release the bind. That means where you're holding on. Let's inhale that right arm up as high as you can reach. And on the exhale, reach down by bending at the elbow and see if you can connect with the shoulders here. If not, don't worry. Just reach the fingertips as close as you can to the mid-back, or the shoulders, I should say. Mid-back would be a little far to reach. Standing tall, keeping the crown of our head parallel to the ceiling, engaging the abdominals. Let's take 3 more breaths. Now gently, gently lower that arm down. Roll both shoulders back and down. This time we're going to take that other arm, the left arm, across the lower back. If you want, you can bind with the other arm in order to get a little deeper in that stretch. If you don't want to get deeper, you don't have to hold on, and you can always loosen things up, okay? But notice when we put our arm behind the back, notice how open everything in our chest becomes. Everything opens up, undoing any unintentional slouchiness that we may have practiced earlier in the day or this week. So trying to open everything up here. Now when you're ready, relax that arm down. Let's inhale the left arm up, reach as high as you're able to lengthen through the spine first, then bend at the elbow, and let's see if we can connect a little bit here with our shoulders. If not, simply reach toward them. Now when you're ready, relax that arm down. Let's roll the shoulders back. And now let's take our left arm and reach across the chest. Use your right arm to hug it in close to the body. This pose is called half knot. And what we're trying to do now is stretch out the back side of the shoulders. This is one of my favorite poses. It is definitely a good maintenance pose for the shoulders if you've never had any shoulder concerns, and it's a nice gentle way to stretch things out if you do. Now let's relax that half knot. This time we'll bring the right arm across the chest. Imagine you're trying to shake hands with someone beside you. Then use your left arm just to hug it in close to the body. Now when you're ready, relax that half knot. Let's roll the shoulders back and down. And let's bring both hands now together at heart center. Feet are planted firmly on the ground. Let's inhale, rising up to our own tallest height. Engage the abdominals. And on the exhale, keep the hips forward as we start to twist the trunk, starting just below the navel, feeling it rise up into the mid-belly, maybe on up into the shoulders. A nice standing spinal twist. Inhaling tall, and on the exhale, we come back to the center. Let's get ready for the other side. Inhale, upright, nice and tall, pull in the abdominals. Exhale, turning, turning, turning toward the other side of our mat. A nice spinal twist. Now gently, gently, let's come on back to the center and relax those arms, rolling our shoulders back and down. Now let's move on up toward the top of the mat here. The feet are hips distance apart as if you're standing on the outer rails of railroad tracks. Now let's take our left foot and step as far back as we can with that whole left foot connecting to the ground. And I like to angle my toes outward on a slight diagonal. So if I'm looking at a clock right in front of me with 12 noon right at the center, maybe my toes are pointing at about 1 o'clock there. Then we turn our hips to face forward. A good bend in the front knee, looking straight into the distance with a soft gaze through the eyes, shoulders over the hips. Now I can leave my hands on hips here if that's where it's most comfortable. You might also try today a behind the back forearm bind where we're stacking each forearm one on top of the other and just keeping the chest nice and open. Now listen to your shoulders, especially if you have concerns there, and make sure things are feeling good and challenging, but without discomfort. Warrior one, let's take 3 more breaths. Now let's relax the hands. Keeping the right foot where it is, let's step back with the left foot, coming into warrior two. So my right toes are still facing forward. My left foot is now parallel to the back of the mat. We're reaching both arms out to their longest length at shoulder height. And I'm looking out to the tip of my right middle finger here. Warrior two. Keeping our abdominals engaged will help with our balance here. Let's take 3 more breaths. Now when we're ready, let's turn that right palm up toward the sky. Reach out to lengthen the spine first, like you're serving cookies to a friend. Then gently, gently tilt the upper body back. Now that the right arm is rising high. The left hand is resting on our left leg. This is reverse warrior. Now let's come back to warrior two. Relax the arms, gently, gently. Step up from that deep stance. Maybe shake the legs out here. Let's inhale both arms up to shoulder height. On the exhale, we take a swan dive down to forward fold. On the inhale, we lift to monkey with strong abdominals supporting the back. And on the exhale, down to forward fold. Rising, rising tall. And we sit back in chair as we exhale. Let's inhale, arms over or up to shoulder height. Swan dive down to forward fold. On the inhale, we lift to monkey here. And we exhale down to forward fold. Inhaling, rising up. And on the exhale, we sit back to chair. Let's use two more of these monkey flows. One more chair pose here. Inhaling, arms to shoulder height, relax them down, roll the shoulders back. Now let's make sure the feet again are hips distance apart, and let's take that right foot and step as far back as we can for warrior one. So get your firm foundation, good bend in the left knee. Right foot's all the way connected to the ground with the toes angled out slightly at the 11 o'clock mark. Turn the hips to face forward, shoulders over the hips. You can have relaxed arms by just keeping your hands on the hips. Or last time we tried that forearm bind, so we might try that again to stretch out the front side of the shoulders and open the chest. Warrior one. Now when you're ready, relax those arms. Keep the left foot where it is. Let's pick up the right foot and step back into our warrior two. It's almost like you're standing on a balance beam or a surfboard. The left toes still face forward. The right foot is parallel to the back of the mat. We're reaching out through both arms and looking out over that left middle finger for warrior two. Now let's turn that left palm up to the ceiling. Reach forward first to lengthen the spine, and then gently, gently tilting back. Now, if my arms were getting tired, I could always put a hand on a hip here and still maintain that little tilt back in our reverse warrior. So think about what you need for this pose and always make changes if you'd like. Now when you're ready, come back to warrior two, relax those arms, and let's step all the way up to the top of the mat here. Now let's shift all of our balance over to one foot, preparing for tree pose. Let's point through the opposite toes, draw that foot in. You can keep it at ground level with the toes connecting to the ground, the heel resting on your supporting leg, or you might take that leg up to the calf, just below the knee, or above the knee on that high inner thigh. It's always up to you. All of us, regardless of which position that we're using for the legs, all of us are engaging the abdominals, lifting up to our own tallest height. Now when you're ready, shake out those limbs. Let's get ready to do the same on the other side. Shift your balance over to the other foot. Draw that other foot in. Decide for this side of the body where that leg feels best. Remember, let's try to open up the hip. So try to open that leg out to the side for your bent knee leg. Tree pose is not just about balancing on one foot, but it's also about opening up the hip of that bent leg. So let's see what we can do today. Looking straight ahead into the distance at a steady focal point. Now let's shake out those tree limbs. Let's move on up to the top of our mats again. Inhaling, arms up to shoulder height with a little bend in the knees. Let's swan dive down to a forward fold. And here we're going to take a moment here to straighten out the legs as much as is comfortable today. Remember, once again, if you're working through vertigo, glaucoma, or uncontrolled high blood pressure, I want you to keep your chest parallel to the ground here. Straightening those legs as much as they want to straighten for us tonight. And when you're ready, let's go ahead and take down one knee and then the other. And let's send those hips back toward the heels, coming into child's pose. Now let's shift forward a little here. We're going to leave our left arm forward as it is, and we're going to take our right arm and reach it underneath the left arm. This is called thread the needle pose. Now it can be a wonderful stretch for the shoulders, but if it's not feeling good in any way, just come on back to child's pose. Some people will even rest their head down on the mat here while we get this deep shoulder stretch. Okay, when we're ready, let's gently bring that right arm out. Come on back to Balasana. That's child's pose. Take a break. Now here, we're going to shift forward a little bit. Take that left arm under, palm up toward the ceiling. Again, if it's comfortable to rest your head, you're welcome to, but you don't have to. It's a nice way to stretch out the upper back here. Now let's gently bring that arm out. Come on back to child's pose. And let's take a moment here, just a couple breaths. And walk those hands back toward your bent knees. Lift up through the torso. And let's bring our feet out from under us. So here, we're going to keep our knees bent. And we're going to do a little bit of work balancing on our sitting bones. So I want you to kind of rock side to side, and you'll feel these bony rods right underneath your bottom. Those are the sitting bones. We're going to use boat pose, and I want you to try to balance on your sitting bones. And we're going to try to stay out of the lower back as best we can. So the first part of boat pose, there's lots of options. I'm just going to sit up nice and tall, maybe just hold on behind my legs. This can be one version you might try of boat, keeping the abdominals pulled in. The next version is going to have a little more balance work, so I'm going to lift one foot at a time, and I'm just going to keep balancing on my sitting bones, engaging the abdominals here, still holding on to my legs. Another option is to let go of the legs. Another option might be to bring your legs to a tabletop level or straighten them out into a V shape for a full boat pose. So think about where you want to be with all these options. Think about balancing on the sitting bones, nice and long from the hips to the knees, the hips through the shoulders. 3 more breaths. Now gently, gently, we come on down. Let's extend our right leg out long in front of us, and let's bring our left foot in close to the bottom. And then we're going to open up that left hip out to the side, getting ready for Janu Shirshasana. So I'm flexing my right foot. My left foot, I've moved it up into the high inner groin area. Let's inhale, both arms overhead. On the exhale, hinge, hinge, hinge forward from the hips. Maybe connecting here with the toes. If you can't reach the toes, no worries. You can connect gently above the knee, gently below the knee, and anywhere on the lower leg. Just a little deeper stretch here with a nice hip opener in Janu Shirshasana. Now gently, gently, we walk the body upright. Let's switch sides. Now the left leg is long in front of us. The right foot comes in close to the bottom and the right knee is bent. Now let's open that right hip out to the side, flexing the left foot so we elongate all those muscles under the legs. Let's inhale, both arms up, reaching high. Engage the abdominals and then hinge forward as we exhale. Now on the inhale, let's walk the body all the way back upright. Let's slide on up toward the top of the mat. The knees are bent and we're going to gently, gently roll ourselves on down, one vertebrae at a time, hugging the knees in toward the chest. That's a nice way to release the lower back. Maybe we'll rock the knees today or gently, gently circle them around. If you're using a circle pattern, let's remember to reverse the circles. And then we'll bring those knees back in toward the chest. Keeping our knees bent, let's lower the feet to the ground. The feet should be about hips distance apart, so if you can't tell where they are, you're welcome to just lift up a little and kind of gauge where your feet are in relation to where the rest of your legs are. Now let's place the hands, palms down on the mat, and the hands will be probably just beyond your bottom. Getting ready for bridge pose. We're going to get ready to peel up one vertebrae at a time. When you're ready, let's lift, lift, lift. keeping the shoulders connected to the ground, pressing down through the feet as we lift the hips skyward and bridge, relaxing through the shoulders. Two more breaths. Now gently, gently reconnect one vertebrae at a time. Let's walk the feet together so they're side by side and the knees are side by side. And let's open up the knees into a reclined butterfly position. Now, another option you might try for the shoulders that might feel welcoming to you, especially if you have concerns there, let's bring the hands into prayer pose at heart center and then open the arms out to the side. So they're like cactus arms laying on the ground here as we are in our reclined butterfly. Now I'm feeling a whole lot of opening through the shoulders, especially in those upper pectoral muscles. So if anything is feeling uncomfortable rather than good and challenging there, let's remember we can always change the position of the arms to be more comfortable. One more breath. Now gently, gently bring those butterfly wings back upright, and let's just lower our arms to kind of a scarecrow level for the arms. Let's keep those feet and knees side by side. Let's inhale, engaging our abdominals. On the exhale, carefully, carefully, we lower the knees together over to one side toward the floor. They don't have to touch the floor, but they might. Keeping both shoulder blades connecting to the ground is going to keep the back nice and safe. Now let's engage the abdominals. Gently, gently bring the knees upward. Preparing for the other side, we keep the abdominals engaged. Gently, gently lowering, lowering over toward the other side. Now let's gently, gently bring those knees back upright. You can extend the legs long to the ground here, coming into Shavasana, and let those legs just fall apart in relaxation. We can take those arms to just outside of the hips here. Now, if it's not comfortable for us to lie down flat like this, you can certainly bend the knees and keep them upright, or bend the knees and use reclined butterfly, whichever you like. Shavasana pose is always a gift to each of us at the end of our practice. It's an opportunity to rest and relax, and to also just be observant of thoughts that may come into the mind. Just acknowledge them briefly and then let them float on by like a cloud in the sky. We also might observe just how we're feeling as we're lying here in Shavasana. So let's breathe in a deep, relaxed way. Let's begin to slowly awaken these bodies from this balancing, mindful rest. Let's start to bring some small movements into our fingers and our toes, gently waking them. And let's start to breathe a little more deeply, filling all parts of this physical body with good, nourishing oxygen and good waking energy. And we find our hearts are shining with gratitude today, grateful for this practice that has some good options for the neck and for the shoulders. Hopefully options that are going to help ease any discomfort there and also give us some more options for our yoga practice when we have concerns in those areas. Our hearts are also shining with gratitude to have shared this practice with each other and to have set aside this valuable time in our day for this yoga practice. Now, for those who are lying down, let's take a moment to bend the knees, gently hugging them in closer to the chest, perhaps rocking them gently, gently side to side, massaging the back in a gesture of self-care. And then when you're ready, let's carefully roll the entire body over to one side on our mat. Each of us breathing in the peace, the balance, and the focus that we've shared here today, intending to take it with us everywhere we go. And exhaling all of the warmth, kindness, encouragement, and love that we have for each other, for the whole world around us, and for ourselves. And when we're ready, with our eyes still closed, let's rise up to an easy seated posture on the mat. And I invite each one of us to bring the palms together at heart center. Let's start to rub those hands vigorously, warming them today. And let's use these warm hands to gently cover our closed eyes. And that wonderful heat that we find there is inviting our eyes to slowly open, and we bring our hands to rest upon our laps. Clear minds, kind words, compassionate hearts. Namaste.